when we hear about solo hiking, I think the first thought is like it's unsafe, but that is a misconception. Solo hiking is not unsafe, especially if you do it correctly. Hey guys, it's Irene here, the Black Hiking Queen, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you have been following along, I have been recording a new hiking series, Hiking 101. If you missed the other videos, go back and watch those. And if this is your first time here, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, share it with your friends and your family. Hiking can be a really fun adventure, whether you choose to hike solo or you choose to hike in a group. There are some pros and cons to hiking solo versus hiking with a group. And in today's video, we're going to go through the pros and cons of both, and we are going to talk about some key safety things that are good to know, especially if you're hiking solo or if you're hiking with a group. So let's get into it. First of all, I think hiking with friends is honestly just more fun. There's so many pros of hiking with others. You get to share the experience and the beauty of the trail with other people. You get to basically create memories with other people outdoors. And my preference is actually hiking with other people. I do a lot of solo hikes, but it's mainly because of like timing. It's hard to find people who want to hike when I want to hike, some places I want to go, and I don't want to wait, all of those things. So I do hike solo all the time, but I honestly prefer to hike with other people. The great thing about hiking with other people is that one, you get to share in the experience. You get to take photos together. So you're creating memories with other people, which is just honestly amazing. And then third is a safety advantage. If someone gets hurt on the trail, the good thing about hiking in a group is that you have each other to help. If you're hiking solo, it's kind of a little bit dangerous because if something happens, you basically have to rely on yourself to basically save yourself. Another great thing about hiking in a group is that you get to share the load. You can divide up all the stuff you have to carry. Someone can carry the snacks, someone can carry more water. And it's just nice to know that you have someone else on the trail who can help you with carrying things. One downside about group hikes is that everyone has their own preference, and sometimes it can be challenging to come to an agreement about what y'all want to do. One way to approach this challenge is just making sure that as a group, you come to a decision on where y'all want to hike, how many miles y'all want to hike. It's good to think about where y'all want to stop, to take breaks. Because it could be difficult if like one person wants to hike fast and then another person wants to hike slow. So these are all things that you have to consider when you're going on a group hike. One thing that I love about group hikes though is that variety. I do love seeing how everyone approaches a hike. Personally, I'm the type of hiker that likes to take my time. I love taking a million photos. And if there is a great view, I love just sitting there and taking it in. Group hikes are really great for anyone who wants to socialize. So if you're a huge social person and you want to talk to other people, if you're a beginner hiker and you're just afraid of like going hiking by yourself, group hikes are great for that because you'll have other people to share in the experience. And I think in general, group hikes are really fun. I remember one time I was hiking with some friends at Caprock Canyon State Park here in Texas, and it started storming. We heard thunder, and then started to see lightning, and we still had, I think, like maybe a mile left in the hike. So we just quickly started hiking down, and then it started raining, and then it started hailing. That's when I started getting a little nervous. I was like, it's actually hailing. Like literal hailstones were just falling on us. It was a little bit scary because this was towards sunset. And another crazy thing is that there is a river that runs through the park, but that part of Texas is always dry. It rarely gets flooded. But for whatever reason, that day that we were out there hiking, it decided to start flooding. And part of the trail cuts through the river. So the river was like starting to flood. I wasn't sure what to do, but I did see another group of hikers ahead of us. My initial thought was like, if we stay here, it's not going to be good. It was me and two other people. And so I was like, we need to just catch up with them so that, if this goes crazier, at least we'll be in a big group. So this is a situation where I was so thankful to be hiking with other people. So what ended up happening was we caught up to the other group of hikers, and we all got stuck at this one spot that had a river crossing, and it was flooded. Like the water, y'all, was rushing so fast. At Caprock Canyons, it's all dirt and sand, and so once the water gets on it, it just like starts sinking. Like you feel like you're sinking basically when you step in it. Extremely muddy, hard to cross because the water was moving way too fast. I think it was like 6 p.m., about to be 7. Again, we had no signal. I did download the trail on All Trails, so I looked up where we were on the trail and how far we had to go to get to the trailhead. We weren't that far at this point, so that's the good thing. We waited a couple minutes to just see if it'll stop raining. Eventually it stopped raining, which was good. And then the water level went down a little bit. One of the hikers had a rope, which I'm so thankful for because we basically used the rope to cross the river. We got out of that crazy situation. When we got back to our campsite, everything had got soaking wet, our tents, everything inside. So we decided to just go home after that because it was already a lot. But that is a situation where I'm so thankful that I was hiking with a group, because if that had happened and I was by myself, I honestly would be freaking out, to be honest. Yeah, these are situations that, make you really think about, going out and hiking with a group or hiking by yourself. I mean, anything can happen whether you're hiking with the group or by yourself. Let's talk about solo hiking. One of the best things about hiking solo is honestly the freedom. You get to go at your own pace. You get to decide what trail you want to hike, where you want to hike. You get to decide how long you want to hike. You get to decide when you want to stop. You get to decide how many pictures you want to take or no pictures at all. There is a lot of freedom that comes with hiking solo because you get to make all the decisions. Hiking solo is also an amazing way to clear your mind. I know for me, like being able to connect with nature with no distractions is honestly amazing. And I think that is another benefit of hiking solo. If you need a confidence boost, then go solo hiking. I feel like hiking solo has honestly boosted my confidence so much because I've learned to rely on myself. That is one of the benefits of hiking solo, is that you get to rely on yourself. You learn more about yourself. It just gives you a really good confidence boost. I think the biggest challenge for hiking solo is safety. When you hike solo, you basically are your own self rescue in a sense, because if something happens on the trail, you have to know what to do. It's not like you have someone next to you that can go run for help, or they can give you extra first aid things, or, um, find a way to help you off the trail. You're basically self reliant. Another con about hiking solo is that sometimes it could be lonely if you're hiking by yourself. And it could honestly be a little scary, especially if you're doing a really long trail and you don't see any other hikers around. I have a lot of experience solo hiking, and I'll be honest and say, like, there are some times when I've hiked solo and I've honestly felt a little nervous. And it's mainly because I haven't seen another person on the trail. That's usually what makes me nervous. I don't mind hiking solo by myself, but if I'm on a trail, like a really long one, and I don't see any other hikers like past me, then I'm like, ooh, this is a little scary. I remember when I was hiking in where was that? In Idaho. And that was when I did my first solo long hike. It was an 8-mile hike. What was the name of that trail? I was in McCall, Idaho, and I'm trying to remember the trail. I can't remember it. It was an 8-mile hike, and I always love to start my trails early in the morning, especially if I'm doing a solo hike. I like to start very early just so I'm not caught up hiking in the dark. And I think I got to the trailhead around 7 a.m. I read online that this is a really popular trail, and this was around the summertime. So I was expecting that there would be other people on there, on the trail. But when I got there, I think I saw maybe like 2 cars parked, and some people were fishing near the lake. Long story short, I was doing this hike, and for about like maybe the first hour, I didn't see anybody on the trail, and I was a little bit nervous because one, I was in a new hike, a new trail, a new state. A trail I'd never done before, so I was a little bit nervous. But after a while, I started to see more hikers and the trail got really busy, and that just kind of helped me a little bit. I remember the name of the trail, y'all. It was Boulder Lake Loop at the Piatt National Forest in Idaho. That was the longest hike I had ever done solo. I think I ended up clocking in around like 8 miles, something like that. That was a fun experience, and I've done so many solo hikes since then. I think with time, you get more comfortable because I feel like when I first started hiking solo, I started in my local, neighborhood, local trails. So it's pretty easy because those trails are really packed and there's a lot of people. But once I started venturing out to like other states, in other places and doing more longer solo hikes where the trail is maybe not as popular or not as packed. That's when I started actually getting more nervous. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's all worth it. I feel like I've gained so much confidence hiking solo. And yeah, I just do it because life is too short to be waiting on other people. And although my preference is hiking with others, I still love hiking solo and I will continue to do it. Solo hiking is great for experienced hikers or anyone, honestly, who is tired of waiting on others to go hiking. When we hear about solo hiking, I think the first thought is like it's unsafe, but that is a misconception. Solo hiking is not unsafe, especially if you do it correctly. I think one way to approach solo hiking is to make sure that you are prepared in all forms. So check the weather, check the trail conditions, download the trail for offline use on all trails, let other people know where you are going, carry pepper spray, carry everything. That's what helps me feel more comfortable hiking solo is just being prepared. I think that solo hiking is very rewarding. It's very relaxing. It gives you a sense of freedom and it helps build your confidence. If you've never solo hiked before, I am encouraging you to take at least one solo hike. And it can be something that's in your neighborhood, in the state park. It doesn't have to be anything that's dramatic. Have you been on a solo hike before? Leave a comment and let me know if you've ever been on a solo hike and where did you hike? Some key safety things to remember when hiking with a group is to always stick together, especially if you're on a trail that has some really tricky terrain and it's not well marked and it's easy to get lost. Always stick together. Unfortunately, I've heard of like stories where people were hiking with the group and someone got left behind and they got injured or lost. So it's always good practice to just stick together when you're hiking with the group. One recommendation would be to assign a leader for your hike. And this person will help in just maybe, bringing the group together, making sure that everyone who came on the hike also leaves together on the hike. This person will just frequently check on everybody to just make sure that they're okay. Another good thing about assigning a leader is that this person could probably also set the pace so that everyone is hiking at a comfortable pace and no one gets left behind. Another good safety tip is to agree on a place where you will take rest stops and then also like a good timing, I guess, on like when the trail or the hike will end. Maybe pick a spot where you know that everyone will meet up in case someone, hikes too fast or too slow so that no one gets left behind on the trail. Some important safety tips for solo hiking is to always tell someone where you're going before you go on your trail. You can easily share the trail with someone from all trails, but at least let one person know where you are. In the event of an emergency, you'll be able to get the help that you need. Another safety tip that I would recommend if you're hiking solo is to carry a GPS personal tracking device. This is Bivy, a satellite communication device. There's so many different brands out there. I know Garmin makes one, the Garmin InReach, which is a really great one that I would recommend. But these are great to have because if you're hiking solo and something happens and you need help, then you can use this. Another tip I would recommend is to download the All Trails Plus app. That one you can download maps for offline use so you can make sure that you are headed in the right direction on your hike. Another tip is to stick to the marked trails. Do not go off trail because you could end up getting lost. Some other good things to have if you're hiking solo is a whistle. I keep one in my first aid kit just in case. Pepper spray, a pocket knife, and it's honestly good practice to carry the 10 essentials. I filmed a video on the 10 essentials, so if you haven't watched that, go watch that video because I talk about everything that you should carry on a day hike. So whether you prefer to hike solo or hike with the group, the most important thing is to make sure that you prepare for your hike and that you are safe when you go hiking. Either way, you're going to have a great time on the trail. Let me know what your preference is. Do you like hiking in a group or do you prefer to hike solo? And if you have hiked solo before, where did you hike solo? What was your first solo hike experience like? Leave a comment below and I'm looking forward to reading about your experience. That's it for today's video. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, share it with your friends and your family, and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to keep up with all the amazing videos that are coming.